Good morning to you. I am Mark Sudduth, and here's what's up in the tropics for Saturday, July the 9th, 2022. We'll start things off with a tweet here from Shay Gibson down at Weatherflow in Charleston, South Carolina, tweeting here that, yep, the old dusty tongue of the Sahara lashing out across the MDR, the main development region. Look at that graphic there showing all the African dust. This is a simulation of it through about midweek next week, eventually pushing all across the tropical Atlantic, the Caribbean, and then probably into the Gulf of Mexico from there, and that will help to keep a lid on things. This is just part of the overall pattern of why things are so quiet in the Atlantic Basin, and we can see that represented on the graphical tropical weather outlook here. Basically, this time of the year and the hurricane season, early to mid and even late July, we see this African dust, dry air, sinking air, and not a lot of activity in the tropical Atlantic. That usually doesn't happen until later in August. Looking at the Eastern Pacific, however, things are still quite busy. We have Bonnie that is still winding down way out there in the open Pacific, and then a couple of other areas trying to get going over here the next few days. The area in yellow down there, we got to watch that closely. Some indications are that it might try to turn more towards the north and maybe northeast with time, maybe after about a week. But that's a week out. We can worry about that as things progress. For now, though, no impacts for Mexico from any of these systems. The satellite view kind of shifted it over a little bit. The eastern tropical Atlantic, really nothing going on out there, so we'll focus here on the eastern Pacific and the western parts of the Atlantic Basin. Other than Bonnie spinning down there in the eastern Pacific in that other area that's trying to develop, it's pretty quiet for right now. All of the activity will be focused in the eastern Pacific for the next several days, probably until about the last third of the month of July. And we can see that pretty nicely here on the GFS. This is the Atlantic Basin here over the next 5 days. Maybe just a little bit of a hint there at the end of the run. That's about 120 hours out of a more vigorous tropical wave coming off of Africa. You can see it right there. Maybe. We'll have to see about that. Otherwise, I think it's going to stay nice and quiet here for the next 5 to 10 days or so. Not the case, though, in the Eastern Pacific. Here's the GFS for that area, and it's just one system after the other getting going out there. A favorable setup overall, not nearly as vulnerable to dry air intrusions, certainly not much from the African influence there from the Saharan air layer, and just an overall favorable pattern right now in the Eastern Pacific. And once that calms down, as we end the month of July and get into August, I do believe that the Atlantic Basin will start to get busier at that point in time. Not that anybody's in any hurry for it. All right, that is it from me for today. Have a great rest of your Saturday and a great weekend as well. I am Mark Sudduth. This has been What's Up in the Tropics. I'll be back with more for you tomorrow morning.